We did it! Hello. Let's wait till we get some people in here. Yeah,
we need dogs.
Blanche,
There's
got
so
plenty
many
of dogs. So Blanche got a haircut.
Wow.
And
Linda.
It's a little different for her. Blanche and a Linda.
We love her still.
And a River. We love her. There's a Nina here too.
Nina does not go up in the arms.
Nina does not go up in the arms. Linda, I'm gonna kiss you because I love you. We got 5 viewers. Tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Hello, where are you calling
Where are you
from?
calling from?
Hello, callers.
It's nice to meet you. You on?
Oh,
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Cushing's disease, so stick around.
Yeah, we're really excited about this one because this is what we get the most calls and emails about. And the most success. If you go through to our Heal tincture and just look at the reviews, just search Cushing'S and see the amount of reviews that are coming. And the quality of life is incredibly different. And we think, based on research, that there's a lot of potential to not only help the symptoms, but the actual root of the problem, which we'll teach you guys all about.
Yeah. We got Dr. Zach in the house.
Dr. Zach Pilasov. Woohoo! We got Dr. Blanche.
Dr. Blanche.
Dr. Blanche?
She's like,
I was
not a doctor.
Stage.
Kim is here. Hello, Kim. Mary Davis. Hello.
Hey, Susan.
Susan from South Carolina. Hello, Susan. Mary Davis says, my dog takes Heal for Cushing'S.
Woo!
Awesome. Mary
Great.
Davis, please tell us all about how that's going. I'm so excited to hear.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about the different ways that it's going to help, as you, I'm sure, are already experiencing with your dog.
Yeah, we have one of our own, actually, who's downstairs somewhere, Potato, who Angie rescued. Angela Ardolino, by the way, our founder, who's usually with us, is really busy. She's opening her second shop of Beautify the Beast, an all-natural grooming and boarding shop in Tampa, downtown Tampa. So if you're around, come check it out, beautifythebeast.com.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Kim. Hi,
Hi. But yeah, Angie rescued a dog 2 years ago. I think she was 14 when she got rescued, a Shih Tzu with every symptoms of Cushing possible. Bloated, peeing all the time, cysts and warts everywhere, panting, terrible mobility, just it wasn't great. And we switched her to a raw diet with Angela's pet food, and then of course implemented Heal CBD tincture. And it's night and day difference.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. All her warts and cysts have fallen off. Her pot belly's shrunk completely. She doesn't pee everywhere. She's not pants. She runs.
Yeah, she does. She hustles.
She's 16 now.
Her name actually originally
right.
was not Potato. They renamed her Potato because she was like an old spud that you've kind of left in the cupboard and forgotten about that had all this little growths all over her.
It was bad, but I mean, seeing the difference. It's been 2 years now, but the difference within 6 months.
Absolutely.
Is crazy. No other medications, just CBD and diet.
Yeah, I mean, since I got here last March and we were here for the summer, like coming back this time, I'm like, oh my God, is this the same dog?
Yeah, no, it's really, really crazy. Alexa, hello.
Hello, Alexa.
Mary Davis says it's going great. He has a tumor on his liver and unable to take the standard Cushing'S meds because it's so hard in the liver. He's thriving right now. So grateful. I'm sharing.
Typically, that's a drug called Trilostane, right, Zach?
Or Veterol.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a brand of it.
Drug name, brand name.
Gotcha.
Exactly perfect. So synonyms, exactly correct.
And how does that drug work?
Right. So the way in which we've only been really found to mitigate Cushing's without causing really adverse side effects, because actually the drug that UC used was an analog of DEET, which is basically what yeah. So there's a drug out there called mitotane, which is what we actually veterinarians will learn about that in vet school. That's basically like pesticide you put on plants to kill like parasites and organisms. So
sounds healthy.
That's great. Yeah, that's what they were doing to cure what in actuality, if you think about Cushing's, it's not lethal disease, but it has so many different side effects and adverse effects because what it's doing is causing your body to create more of the molecules called steroids, which then influence every other cell in the body. So but the drug you guys mentioned, the Trilostane or Veterol, which is the trade name, is basically what it does is it works in a upstream fashion for when steroids are made. So steroids are made essentially from cholesterol in your body, as are a lot of cells. And a lot of messengers, but your cells use cholesterol to make a bunch of molecules downstream. almost like a successive building block chain. And one of the steps is where trilostane will block. But the problem is that it blocks at step 2 out of step 12. And there are other important molecules that are made between steps 3 and 12 where that enzyme is being inhibited and where cortisol comes. So the reason why there are other side effects is because there are other molecules in your body that aren't being made, in addition to your brain and your adrenal glands being confused as to what's going on by this molecule that's inhibiting an enzyme it's trying to use.
Right. So this is a classic example of one of these single-target Western-style pharmaceuticals aimed at one specific thing that then is sort of like a blanket therapy that ends up causing a whole bunch of other side effects because of the necessary functions that it turns off.
Right. We're working with the system, with our natural system to work. What am I trying to say? With our system.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long year.
But yeah, essentially that's just it. Because again, we're not thinking about the source of what's going on.
Yeah.
Cushing's is a condition where there's a benign active tumor that's growing somewhere in the body, whether it's in the pituitary gland or if it's in the adrenal gland. So instead of attacking the source, what we're doing is looking at the end product and trying to react to a disease rather than curing the problem from the beginning.
Right.
So that's why, again, I wouldn't say Cushing's is technically a lethal disease, nor is the medication we're giving it, but what it's doing is literally technically is hurting the body in more ways than one and slowly killing you for the fact that it then causes so many downstream effects after we're blocking your body's ability to do what it's supposed to do.
Right. And it might not be killing, it's really affecting quality of life, which is number one, of course.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, before we get into how CBD can help, about just a little bit about Cushing's in general, just some blanket terms. As Zach was saying, it is a tumor on the pituitary or adrenal gland that then makes you release more cortisol than you need. Correct?
Yeah,
yes. So I was talking to Dr. Ruth Roberts, which Stan, if you're around, post Dr. Ruth Roberts' website because I love that woman. And she was talking to me about how the theory of Cushing's disease being so prevalent today because of us neutering and spaying our animals too early or at all, because it's ruining the endocrine system for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have all these hormones that are necessary that are usually produced by the sex organs that you take out too early, and then the dog's other glands either have to upregulate and do more than they should, or there are just hormones missing that are vital to the function.
Right, exactly. Because one other section of the adrenal glands that works, its job is to talk with your gonads or your sex organs.
Yeah.
And so if you remove those sex organs too early, it causes this hyper accelerated feedback system that the adrenals are kind of questioning or confused. And this is at least a theory on it, that they're confused as to why they don't have someone to send their messages to. So that sends then backlogs to the pituitary gland, to the brain and other areas. And you're essentially just confusing this system, which is then on hyperdrive, trying to create more molecules to tell this other downstream effect what's going on.
Right.
And in addition, those sex steroids, they have more functions than just making you sexually active. They also talk to the rest of your body as well. As we know, testosterone and estrogen can affect other areas of the body, such as in females, they can control or lose control over their urination, their sphincter control. So it affects your mood and your metabolism. It affects everything. So it's just basically by, not that spaying and neutering is wrong whatsoever, but there's more likely a more appropriate time period in a dog's life once they've reached really mature age, that then we can consider population control and reducing the risks of getting cancer. But spaying too early, neutering too early is, at least now, starting to show, I think, some very drastic side effects from that.
Yeah.
Is there an age that you recommend around, like, when it starts becoming safe to spay or neuter?
Yeah, I mean, it's relative to the breed of dog. For example, some German Shepherds won't go into heat the first time until 18 to 20 months of age.
Oh, wow.
Versus, a small Shih Tzu like this might 5-6 months might be their first heat cycle. So it's really hard to tell a standard age, but generally you want them to have at least, we're thinking, several years of the body to have this regulatory feedback loop so that we're not just exacerbating the removal of one of them. So long story short, I think we're knowing more and more as time goes on. And there's a very small collection of doctors that are agreeing with this thought process now as well. It's mostly integrative vets and some more advanced holistic veterinarians that are seeing this now. But the incidence of these metabolic or endocrine diseases 40 years ago was drastically lower in America. And in other areas of the world where they don't spay neuter as frequently, they're still not as high as America. So this has been a population control measure, which has its benefits. Don't get me wrong. There are huge benefits to keeping dogs spayed and neutered in their lifetime. But the time in which that should be done, I think we're definitely having to question and to reevaluate very much in the near future.
Interesting.
Is there any other reason that we know that Cushing's may be developing? I heard maybe overuse, over vaccination.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of also there are a lot of things in nature as well as artificially that can again confuse your endocrine system and the neuroendocrine loop that exists, because your whole body is run on hormones that are talking and having feedback and talking and having feedback. So if we're doing something that is going to influence or to harm the body's ability to talk naturally with each other, then yes, I think things that are there's a specific word for it, but there's essentially that are going to either mimic or to block the normal hormonal function, then yes, of course. And vaccines, as we know, over vaccinating is something we're finding confuses your body in more ways than one.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Before we get on to how CBD helps, I love reading people's reviews and comments about how it's helped. And this one we are reading today. Heal for Cushing's. It says, my dog Duncan was diagnosed with Cushing's disease when he was 9.5. I thought I might have to put him down. He was so sick. He was not barking or eating much. Since starting him on Heal, he has improved so much. He's eating and acting more like his old self. I'm very pleased with Heal and thankful I learned about it. I highly recommend this product.
Cool.
So awesome. So awesome.
Mary Davis asked, could commercial dog food contribute to Cushing's?
Well, I mean, again, we're finding that the high pressure processing, the advanced, like the AGEs, advanced glycogenic end products, as well as a couple other, there's a lot of acronyms, but HCAs and AGEs, these again are metabolically and hormonally active in a way. And so, yes, I do think that, again, we live in kind of like a overbearing, sterilized world right now, and that the loss of influence is all of them are contributing to confusing our ways in more ways than one.
Yeah. And like, even if you just think about your own health and wellness, like if your diet is messed up, your hormonal balance can get really out of whack. And there are a lot of foods that contribute to, like the reason why people moved away from eating soy is because there was a protein in it that kind of mimicked estrogen in a way.
Phytoestrogen, exactly.
Right. So like, of course, things that you're putting in your body, like food, are going to affect the way that the overall balance is, and then can affect something like this too. I would imagine.
Yeah. Kim says, how do Canadians order your products? We will link a site that you can order all of our products for Canada. It's not through us, but it's through a trusted retailer of ours.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about how CBD helps.
Yeah, there are a bunch of ways.
It's really, really, really amazing, actually.
And it's supported by not only thousands of experiences of pet parents who are using this, but more and more research. Unfortunately, we don't, as of yet, have a specific study, the way that we do with cancer, for instance, where we have dogs using it for Cushing's, but there are a lot of studies that overlap in the systems that are responsible for and affected by Cushing's disease that we know cannabis has a direct implication on. So we can make a lot of inferences about how it works, and they match up with what we're seeing in the world.
Yeah, very true. So the first thing, we said that Cushing's is caused by this tumor. And as I'm sure a lot of you guys who have tuned in before know, CBD and THC through the endocannabinoid system can actually not only kill cancer cells, but stop it from spreading and shrink tumors. One of the most recent studies done was an in vitro study on canine cancer cells with CBD, showing that CBD can reduce the size of tumors and maybe even get rid of them completely. So we're attacking the actual source of the problem, right? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I think that, again, the three of us in this camp would agree that this is where the words full spectrum come into play for the fact that THC, if there's a molecule in cannabis that has been shown to be directly anti-tumorigenic, it's going to be THC in combination with the other molecules that work in this entourage effect.
Yeah.
So having a full spectrum product that in which, at least what we do is we do the diligence to make sure it's as close to that legal number without going over that is integral to getting the effects you want. So if you have a dog that's been on CBD and it has Cushing's and you haven't seen a response, you have to look at what product you've been giving, because if it's an isolated product or something that's been heavily adulterated, but as we know, adulteration doesn't just mean it has metal in it. It means that a lot of the really beneficial molecules have been stripped from it during the processing, that product is not going to have the same response as something when it's as close to a whole plant medicine as it can be.
Totally. That study actually also studied CBD isolate to see the difference between full spectrum CBD, and it showed that CBD full spectrum, again, was much more effective.
Yeah.
And if you're new to cannabis and CBD, all of our products do have 0.3% or under THC, not enough to really cause any psychoactive effects, not dangerous at all, proven by research. It just also really helps medicine work better, especially when we're talking about something like tumors.
Right.
Sure.
And on the point of the full spectrum argument about this, it's kind of, if we compare this to what we were talking about before with these drugs like trilostane under the name Vetoryl, the difference is, instead of one molecule doing one thing, one single target, it's many molecules having a symbiotic relationship with one another, a synergistic relationship, and doing multiple things that give it a balanced approach to that, so that some, oftentimes contradictory, some molecules may be doing the opposite of others, so that as they're all in there together, no one is overpowering the other. And so you don't end up with these reactions that are on either side of the spectrum. You end up with something that's much more moderate, which also, ends up, it can be, you don't get the results overnight the way that you would with a trilostane, even though oftentimes pet parents are saying within days of using this, it makes a huge difference. But it's definitely a long-term solution. This is something that is going to create long-term success, not a quick fix like a lot of other therapies for this would.
Totally. Sam, if you can post that canine cancers blog that we have, so if you want to see that study, it's there. And that's not the only study to show that it triggers apoptosis and helps tumors. There are plenty of studies in mice and humans and everything. This is just the first specific canine one, so of course we love to reference that one. But this is something we've known for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, again, just because we don't have the hundreds, the thousands, and tens of thousands of studies in animals, we have to remember, number one, in order to get to a human study, you have to have done animal model studies.
Yep.
So number two, we're not saying that the effects are going to be exactly the same, but at the same time, if it has gotten to a human study, that means that there was some type of benefit that was shown in treating animals. So you have to have a faith that, this is something that was considered safe enough to get onto the next model of human testing. And, is it going, do we have the exact, start to finish study yet for Cushing's? No. Or for some other conditions? No. But you know what, at the same time, that doesn't mean that we should be fearful of trying it and creating a catalog of ways in which this has been shown to help in more ways than one.
Totally. Yeah.
So
that's number one, getting rid of the source of the problem, tumors. The second, what that tumor then is doing is, like I said before, making them release too much cortisol, so a hormonal imbalance through the pituitary or the adrenal gland. Are you reading something specific?
Yeah, just people.
Nice. I was like, did I miss
just nice comments?
And this is the next way CBD and cannabis helps, again, through the endocannabinoid system, is by regulating the imbalance in hormones. And this is where it can also be taken for Addison's disease, which is the opposite of Cushing's, where they're not producing enough cortisol. So hopefully this will help there as well. And we've seen and heard many success stories there.
Yeah.
But you were reading a good amount about it recently.
Yeah, there was a study that we were looking at today that was out of Italy, I believe, that was in Endocrine Review, which is a journal about the endocrine system. And it basically, the conclusions of this, which we have somewhere listed, are that it has a modulatory effect on the release of hormones through the adrenal gland, the pituitary gland, and the hypothalamus, which is this kind of that axis, the HPA axis that Zach was talking about. And if so, same as it does in all the other systems, cannabis-based therapies, their main role is to promote homeostasis, to promote balance. So in the case of Addison's disease, if there's not enough cortisol, for instance, being produced, it will upregulate it. In the case of Cushing's disease, what we suppose is going to happen is that it's going to bring it down, and that's like I said before, that's in line with what we're seeing. It plays into kind of the patterns and the properties that we know about cannabis for sure through these double-blinded studies. There's a lot of research that is specific to these organs, to the adrenal glands, the pituitary glands, that show that it will have a modulatory effect and rein in those hormonal imbalances that are causing the disease.
Yeah, because there's receptors all over the pituitary and the adrenal gland, so
yeah,
it's interacting there. Basically, with the endocannabinoid system, it's the master regulatory system of every system in our body. It just and it's pretty smart. It really knows where it needs to go to help, right? But some body can't produce of our naturally occurring, which is when CBD comes in to help kind of fill in those holes and assist where it's needed. Mm-hmm. There's studies showing that, for example, in seizures, that study that shocked me, when dogs who were having seizures didn't have
adequate CB1 receptors, yes, the body would create more receptors in the brain in the areas that there was that trauma, so that it would be able to absorb CBD and the other molecules in a full spectrum hemp extract and make them more readily available throughout the body.
Yeah. It literally knows where to go. There's a lot of inflammation in the knee. It knows, hey, we need to pay attention there. And then CBD and other cannabis comes in and supports our natural.
It's pretty awesome.
Body. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And remember, that stems because we have two naturally occurring cannabinoids in our body that are primary. There's other molecules that overlap. But, the two molecules we have, which is anandamide and then 2-AG, or 2-recordylglycerol, those molecules work in the same way we're talking about. 2-AG has been found to almost be this like basal level endocannabinoid, which is there and helping your body remain at homeostasis and at a balance for the majority of the time. But then when you do have some type of pathology, you have some insult to that balance, then the body upregulates in 10 to the third, 10 to the fourth, 10 to the fifth amounts of anandamide, which is kind of like that need molecule that your body creates in order to help with bringing you back to balance when you are at a point where you're away from that level of homeostasis. So again, the body's making these receptors because it's trying to help with the anandamide 2-AG response, and then you add the full spectrum hemp product, which is just enhancing that and not causing any extra side effects from it.
Yeah, cool. We should do a whole live one day on the endocannabinoid system if you guys want that.
Absolutely.
Let us know, because sometimes we're not sure if we're saying too much or if you guys want to know that specific. So definitely let us know. Bob says, oh, my terrier passed away a couple weeks ago at age 13. She had both diabetes and Cushing's. Now we have an 8-year-old rescue with memory cancer. First of all, I'm so sorry to hear. So sorry. But for the cancer, I mean, we have one of our own who has osteosarcoma. We'll share a video with you guys soon about ozone therapy as well.
And memory cancer especially is one of the specific cancers that has been shown to have extremely positive results with cannabis-based therapies. There are so many different types, and each one of them reacts differently to the different treatment options, but there's a lot of research with memory cancer specifically that shows it's very effective, or it can be very effective. So
definitely a full spectrum product for sure, but also consider using higher levels of THC, so a marijuana-based product. If you want guidance there, Dr. Zach and our founder, Angela Arduino, do consultations, which we'll link, and they'll help guide you find the right product and dose it correctly and get the right food. Food is so important here. But I hope they're doing okay, and I hope they're comfortable. And please reach out if you have any questions.
Absolutely.
I've been doing great on here. What is that?
So just to answer Ms. McPherson's, she wrote in here
Susan.
That Susan, that her dog has lymphangiectasia. Lymphangiectasia is basically a high inflammatory disease in the GI tract. So it's almost like the next step up in inflammatory bowel disease. And it's kind of common in certain breeds such as Yorkies and Shih Tzus and Lhasa Apsos. Those are some of the smaller total dogs. But I would be surprised if that was a heavily responsive disease to cannabis and to CBD, a full spectrum CBD product, because that disease is literally derived from inflammation.
Yeah.
So
That's what
so
CBD
that's great.
can do
Really,
best.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a natural diet that has the lowest amount of starchy, pro-inflammatory molecules combined with a full spectrum hemp. I can't see why that wouldn't be a perfect concoction to start with, helping to really stop that disease in its tracks.
There's quite a lot of receptors in the GI tract as well. So
Absolutely.
it's, definitely. But I know Susan's here every week learning.
Yeah, Susan's the pro.
So I know she's using it, and I can't wait to hear how they're doing.
Yeah.
Cool. So we got tumors. We got regulation of cortisol. What's next?
Third category.
Then there's just a whole bunch of other kind of like secondary effects that is more about the symptoms that Cushing's causes and sort of the secondary effects of the knock-on that CBD is known to help with. So things like hair loss and other dermatological issues, the skin, as we've said many times on here, there are tons of receptors throughout the layers of the dog's skin, making them much more susceptible, or not susceptible, much more, the cannabis therapies are much more available to their skin than even ours. So the dogs who are getting these tags, who are getting that thinner skin, who are losing their hair, I mean, there's studies on hair loss and how cannabinoids can help the body produce more hair follicles.
We saw it on Potato.
We saw it on Potato.
Yeah.
Her hair now is so much fuller.
Yeah.
She lost all these tags. She's no longer a spud-covered
Yeah.
potato.
It's
Her skin isn't as thin and papery anymore.
Not as greasy or oily.
Not as greasy and oily. Yeah.
Of course, it's also helping any pain associated, whether it's inflammation-based or neurological-based. It's keeping them comfortable, which I always say is number one.
Yeah, it's helping with appetite and the thirst drive. One of the things that we all know about cannabinoids is that it can make you very thirsty, or it can suppress your thirst. So same thing. It's these dogs who are constantly drinking, getting bloated because of it, and having to be up all night peeing. It can help with that.
Yeah, and of course, anxiety that comes with all these new feelings happening. It's gonna just keep them at peace.
The sleep schedule, irregular sleep patterns, again, not only because of their peeing, but because of stress and other things that are interrupting their natural circadian rhythm and sleep patterns.
Yeah. Of course, like our hope with using CBD for Cushing's is to target the source of the problem, right? And hopefully maybe even get rid of the source of the problem is the hope. But at the very least, what we know 100% sure is it's going to provide them comfort and keep a good quality of life while they're going through it.
Right. And I think that I would assume that it's most of these secondary effects that are the reason that people are seeing such fast results. These are the things that it's able to do really quickly and sort of correct. And then getting rid of tumors and resetting the balance of hormones throughout the body, those are sort of things that you would expect would happen over a longer period of time. So it really is important, even if you're seeing results really quickly, that you're consistent with your regimen, that you're doing it every day and having it be a long-term thing. Because also, there are just a number of benefits outside of a dog with any disease. A healthy dog should be on a full spectrum hemp extract.
A healthy human.
especially an older one, which is oftentimes when you start getting these diseases. So there really is, all the reason to be consistent with this, really take hold of it, monitor your dog closely, and have this be part of their life for an ongoing basis.
Yeah. And I always encourage pet parents to act preventatively too. A lot of these things are going to happen. A lot of degenerative issues are going to happen regardless, and we can at least slow those degenerative issues down and just keep their bodies functioning as healthy as possible as they get older, especially as they get older, for sure.
Yeah.
Jackie says, our 11-year-old hound suffers from high blood pressure. Our vet recommended CBD oil or trazodone in addition to her BP meds. Can you give me some direction on this? I would rather give her CBD.
Well, again, it's hard to give specifics for that, but what I will say is that in animals, unlike in humans who get essential hypertension, animals get hypertension for a certain reason. So whether it is brain disease or kidney disease or GI disease or a protein loss disease, again, this is where high blood pressure is found, but the source of why that happened is what we should be focusing on. So you can give hypertension meds such as amlodipine or enalapril, midazopril, depending on whatever the patient is on. But the advice, at least when for addressing with cannabis, because cannabis does have an effect on your cardiovascular system and in the tone in your vessels, because it does actually cause, in general, a lowering of blood pressure, causes vasodilation, then can sometimes have a reflective. So again, we're finding different areas in that.
Dilation of the blood vessels creates lower pressure throughout the body. So the opposite of hypertension.
Right, exactly. But where it comes down to is what is the source of why this is happening, number one. And number two, how is cannabis helping to cure the source or correct the source?
Yeah.
And then helping with mitigated downstream effects. So
right.
High blood pressure, why is it happening? Number one. Number two, will it go down because we're addressing the source? Yes. And will it also help with the symptom? What I could infer from studies is probably yes. But again, I wouldn't say that there is never a no, my dog is sick, CBD is not appropriate, except for like the smallest of collections of conditions. So, it would depend on, your pet's overall health and wellness and or whatever collection of illnesses we have. But in general, like I said, there's really a one-hand count of times where I've maybe said we should wait on the CBD.
Yeah. What we always tell people, especially in cases where dogs have heart disease or high blood pressure, is if you're using a CBD oil, just start slow. Be patient with it. Start at a low dose and slowly work your way up. Because the last thing that you want to do is, in this case, give them too much that it's going to change their heart rate and their blood pressure, which is only something that would happen if you were doing it at a very high dose, very sensitive dog. You just want to avoid that, even if it weren't to be a huge issue. So start low and increase slowly. See what their tolerance is so that you know personally how much they can take. And then, know that that's going to be something safe for them.
Yeah. Rob says, my rescue with the mammary cancer, she's a finicky eater, so I've been feeding her boiled chicken with store-bought chicken gravy. Is that a no-no?
I think the answer is a couple of people
talking. People are...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're not the food experts, but if you want to talk to someone, our favorite companies are Answers Pet Food and Small Batch. Even Dr. Harvey's are 3 great options.
Yeah, I would just make sure, if you're going to be doing your dog's own diet, just make sure that you are doing the research that's necessary so that you give them a complete diet. Because a full diet of one thing, any one thing, is not going to be a complete diet. So just boiled chicken and chicken gravy, there's probably going to be some essential nutrients and minerals that they're going to be missing. So really look into these companies that have done the work to formulate really great, fresh, whole food, species appropriate diets.
Organic.
That have everything they need. That's why we always recommend Dr. Harvey's, especially people who are getting into raw feeding, more fresh and natural feeding, because it has all the essential nutrients, and then you just add the protein on top. So that would be something that would be good if your dog's good with chicken. Use the chicken as the protein base, and then use Dr. Harvey's to kind of round it out, and so that it's a full and complete meal.
You can also look into Dr. Ruth Roberts. She has Instant Pot recipes. We'll link her website again. We have a book from Dr. Judy Morgan,
Yin and Yang.
Yin and Yang, which we'll post as well. So if you want to, if you want to feed your dog whatever it is you're cooking, those are 2 great sources to know how to do it right.
Yeah.
And then if you want someone else to do the work for you, Dr. Harvey's for dehydrated, small batch, freeze-dried or raw, and our number 1 is Answers Pet Food, which is all raw food.
Yeah, really great stuff.
Kim said, I just ordered Heal. Keep us posted, please.
Dr.
I have read that HMR ligands and melatonin is effective for Cushing'S. Thoughts?
What?
It's part of the treatment. So melatonin comes into play because of that thing I actually mentioned before about how sex steroid feedback loops are also involved with the adrenal health and the adrenal disease. So melatonin plays a role in kind of influencing that. And so the pineal gland, which is where melatonin acts in the brain, has also a feedback loop with the pituitary. So I think that there's been, I would say if you're going to consider it, it would be part of a multimodal treatment plan, but also they've been finding melatonin has multiple adverse influences as well, mild, but multiple adverse influences in a collection of animals. Sometimes it works okay, sometimes it has no effect, and sometimes it causes. So the HMO lignans, that's a very early adjunct. Lignans are natural molecules, again, found in nature, actually, in a lot of plants and fungi that do have overlapping influence in the body. I don't think that I've heard much about them, good or bad. So I don't know enough about that to really give a good insight. But melatonin thing, yes, that's common. They use melatonin a lot also in another condition, which is a sex steroid condition in Pomeranians called alopecia X, which is similar to what dogs with Cushing's will get.
Yep, that same hair loss and papery skin.
Exactly. Yeah. So the whole body connects with neurohormonal balance. Melatonin is a molecule that works with some of the receptors that cannabis helps with. So again, I think that is something that maybe could help in the situation, but also I've heard some things not so great about it. So
okay.
I just linked Dr. Ruth Roberts, her crockpot diet. Go on her website, and I think she does consultations too. So if you need to talk to her, she's
great.
Incredible.
Has tons of video content and is really contactable. She's great.
Sarah Levitt said, "Can you spell that? Spell what?"
Dr. Ruth Roberts. Dr. Ruth.
Not sure.
I don't know what you mean. R-U-T-H.
Yes.
That dog you're holding is so cute and totally relaxed. That's Blanche. That's my baby. Look, I actually just got Blanche tattooed on me. She doesn't look like this right now because she got an interesting haircut. But my fault. I asked them to shave her beard because of goat's milk.
It's really an interesting haircut.
But that's Blanche. And
She looks really good.
I wish I could say it's the CBD that relaxed her, but she's just that calm until you leave her alone, and then she's a monster, and that's when CBD comes into play. Cool. We'll start wrapping up, but if you guys have questions, let us know. We'll talk a little bit about what Cushing's is, how it's caused, and then how CBD, cannabinoids, and the endocannabinoid system can help. To reiterate, we can target the root of the problem, which is shrinking or even possibly reducing the tumor.
Sarah, that's what she means.
She said what she means by spell.
Can Mrs. Levitz or Dr. Levitz actually elaborate what
do you want us to spell?
What do you want us to spell?
Yeah. So we got the tumor. The secondary is the possibility of hormone regulation. And then, of course, the symptoms: hair loss, cysts, tumors, external fatty tumors.
Downstream effects.
Downstream effects, exactly. The whole gamut. And that's because steroids, similar to endocannabinoids, have tons of roles throughout the body that are beneficial when in the homeostatic levels, when they're in the normal range of what our body's supposed to be. It's important for a numerous number of feedback loops, as well as for the development and maintenance of cellular health and function. So, but we're talking about when that becomes excessive. So we don't want to stop all steroid production. We want to bring it back to a healthy level.
Yeah. Cool. Susan says, besides CBD, can you suggest other herbal or holistic approaches to Cushing's? I don't know too much, but I've been learning a little bit. Ashwagandha, turmeric,
diet, nutrition.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm learning more. So as I learn more, I will let you know for sure. Amy Brown says, I got the Mary Bio CBD book. Love it. Thank you for the recommendation. Yes.
It's got to be here somewhere.
I still have this comment up. How do I take this one down? There you go. Mary Biles' book. It's an amazing book to learn about.
CBD book. And it really is she does everything.
She actually wrote our cancer blog. She writes for Project CBD, which is one of the most respected cannabis reputable sources. She's incredible. So if you want to learn CBD and what it can do and how it works, definitely check it out.
The calories portion.
Which one?
No, this one, calories.
Can you tell me if there are calories in your CBD? A friend of mine quit giving a different brand because of calories.
Any carrier molecule is going to carry calories with them. But if you're worried about the amount of calories that's in a dropper, and I think that there's ways in which we can balance a diet for that if we're worried about calories. But essentially, this is a similar topic with carrots as treats. Like a lot of people bring up that there's sugar in carrots. Well, yes, of course, there's going to be calories in an MCT oil, but honestly, whereas 90 to 95% of a dog's calories are supposed to come from, it's supposed to be from diet. So, one dropper full, if we're not giving excessive calories throughout the day and treats, etc., is not going to throw a dog off from being balanced in terms of its caloric intake throughout the day. It's really about really looking at the diet as a whole, and if anything, the oils that we're getting in at least the product that we do are going to be metabolically active for good reasons.
Yeah.
If we're giving 25 chews of CBD a day that have starch and other carbohydrates and high pressure processed end products such as AGEs and HCAs, then I would say yes, we should be worried or at least be vigilant. But a cannabis oil that's in a carrier molecule that is biologically safe and effective and active and
that are good healthy fats,
Yeah,
that have high omega content, a hemp seed oil, MCT oil, olive oil.
Yeah.
These things in the right proportions are great for our dogs.
And if you're concerned about putting too much oil, get the most potent tincture possible. So either our dog heel tincture or go up to the horse products. That way it's less oil per milligram and you're using less oil.
But you're going to have to use some oil because cannabis is a CBD and the other molecules in a full spectrum hemp extract are fat soluble molecules. So you're going to have it incorporated with something fatty in order for it to be absorbed.
And again, I'm going to say in general, I don't think any of the people that are up on whole food diets and formulating diets are going to say that you should be fearful of the minuscule amount of carrier molecule fat that is in there. Even if your dog or animal has a history of pancreatitis or anything of that nature where they say to be fearful of fats, it's not the fat, it's the type of fat. And so that's what's important. These fats are biologically active and actually are promoting anti-inflammation throughout the body and are not pro-inflammatory. So if you're avoiding high starch items and you're avoiding saturated fat foods, then this is not a fat you should be fearing. This is helpful, actually.
Awesome. We're getting so many questions. Bob says, thank you so much for your advice.
Welcome, Bob.
Kathleen says she needs to use your heel. I don't know who you're talking to, but yes. Susan says, is the Cbd Health formula the way to go? Susan, what are you using it for? And are you looking at a specific formula?
She must mean heel.
Yeah. If you're talking about Cushing's disease, yes, heel for sure. Kathleen says, this is what I use. The heel is the best.
The best.
Thank you, Kathleen. Look at that dog photo.
Cute.
Cute.
Linda. Is it Papillon?
Chloe says, how long a wait is recommended to feed after placing CBD on the gums, please? Actually, give it with fatty foods. It actually not only helps the absorption, but it actually helps it stay in the system longer. There's a good amount of research on it. So, peanut butter, egg yolks,
Linda's
with fatty food is even better. Susan McPherson, CBD is amazing. I now use both Heal and Ease, and they have helped so much.
Great.
Awesome. Bob says you mentioned giving turmeric. I have turmeric. Is it turmeric or the curcumin that helps kill cancer cells?
Curcumin is the molecule.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know frankincense has some possible cancer.
and turmeric.
Yeah, and turmeric.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Well, that was the study that they did where it was both of them.
But that was for inflammation.
Yeah, I think
Cancer is also pro-inflammatory, so the way in which you get it helps. It's been part of I would say it'd be part of like a multimodal natural regimen.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't say that you're going to give turmeric and you will not have cancer afterwards 100% of the time. Let's say it's a great integration into a plan.
Well, for example, Nina takes our horse Ease, so because it's very potent in CBD, but also has turmeric and frankincense. So if you're looking to combine three amazing natural remedies, very potent, definitely check out the horse Ease. It'll help. Kathleen says, I've never heard about calories. Thank you. Susan says, and how would we know the CBD is effective in the treatment approach besides the obvious change in symptoms via follow-up testing?
That's where your veterinarian comes into play. You have to keep your veterinarian involved because the veterinarian is still a medical professional. And whether they agree or not with giving CBD specifically, still they're going to help you as the pet parent monitor at home and be able to see not only with resolution of side effects, or of symptoms of the condition, but also show, for example, on paper that their liver values are going back to normal, that their urine isn't as dilute, or that there are the other, conditions, that they're not getting dermatitis anymore, so those kind of things. So the veterinarian is always needs to be part of your equation of helping your pet, because they're the medical professional, and whether they agree with maybe CBD specifically or not, they're going to be happy, hopefully, at least in my opinion, that your pet is getting better, part of in having a happier quality of life. So they, veterinarians have all different scopes of education and all different things. But the one thing that I would hope all veterinarians share is that they want the quality of life of animals to be better when they're part of the treatment plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually, so many of our reviews say that they went to the veterinarian, got labs done and everything,
Right.
and the veterinarians couldn't believe the difference. So yeah, if you want a on paper way to track it, if you can get the all the lab results before and then a few months later after, send them over.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll give you free stuff if you
We'll give
send
you
us your
free
lab
stuff.
reports.
Absolutely, we will. Anne-Marie says, my dog is better with full stomach when I give her CBD on the gums, just in case some goes down to the stomach and she gets loose poop from it. Yep. Totally.
Definitely.
Susan, what if I can't give fatty foods to my baby? It's totally fine. It's still going to work because you're using it with the carrier oils.
Right. Exactly.
So no worries. Anne-Marie says, whatever the essential oils are in with the CBD, they all help. Agreed.
Great.
Susan, my vet is on board with CBD oil and recommends it. Susan, let us know who your vet is because I want to talk to them. Kim says, off topic, but would the heel be good for a dog with allergies? Absolutely. The ease would be even better because the turmeric and frankincense. That being said, if you have heel will work as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anne-Marie, wow, that's awesome. There are not many who do in Massachusetts, unfortunately. That'll change.
That will change.
Yeah.
Do you know something in Massachusetts?
There's a good veterinarian. I think her name is Dr. Margot Roman. She's also all part of the ozone group.
She's in Massachusetts?
Yeah, Hopkinton. Yeah.
Margot Roman.
Framingham area, I believe. So.
Okay, I know where that is.
Yeah,
Cool.
there you go. Framingham.
Nice.
Jacqueline says, one of my dogs doesn't like to have the dropper put in his mouth. We use heel with him. He had an MCT removed a couple years back. Is he still getting the max benefit from licking it from a bowl, or should we put it in his ear flap instead? We usually put some Answers reward crumbles in the bowl to entice him to lick it up. I think that what you're doing is great. And it's going to work better. As the little research we have, it's going to work better than in the ears. I would keep doing exactly what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My vet is Dr. Mary Kay Campbell of Port Royal Veterinary Hospital. Hey,
cool.
Sam, will you copy that and make sure I talk to that person? Because I love a vet who wants to talk about cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Levitt said, Dr. Zach, what was the question?
No, she had asked to spell something.
Yeah. You said, can you spell that?
Is that Dr. Levitz?
That's Dr. Levitz.
Dr. Levitz.
Dr. Levitz is probably the best primary care veterinarian on Miami Beach, Florida. So,
all right,
if you're looking
people travel miles and miles to be seen by her. So, if you live in Miami Beach, it's a good doctor.
I'm gonna put her name right there, Dr. Sarah Levitz, and there she is with a.
The proof is in the photo.
Yeah,
that is clearly the best vet in Miami.
Cool. We covered a lot.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, I'll have you. She put a little emoji. Sam, will you put the Cushing'S blog? I know I saw you do it before, but just put it again. All the information that we said is in this blog, including the research associated. There's going to be reviews on the bottom of the page if you want to see other people's testimonials. There's that. If you ever have questions, you can reach out to us. Email, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. There's a chat feature on our website. We have consultations with Dr. Zach Kosoff and Angela Ardolino, our founder and cannabis expert.
That's that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we have questions, but we've had people from all across the country schedule consults with us, and I got to tell you that Angie and I get feedback from these owners that there's just amazing results. It's not just CBD that we're talking about. It's about completely altering to a whole food, whole plant medicine approach that is naturally built to just work in synergy with these dogs' bodies. And it's been quite crazy, honestly. I never expected it, and it's just advisory and guidance. It's not even like they're coming in and we're doing tests or laboratories. They're keeping their vets in the loop with our guidance and advice, but we've seen some remarkable results. Even if they can only do 3/4 or a component of the treatment plan, it's been quite rewarding to be part of that, at least. So it's been great.
Awesome.
Cool. The vet's name is Dr. Sarah Levitz.
How do we find Dr. Sarah Levitz?
Well, how do we find? So she works. She's the doctor at the Banfield in Miami Beach. So.
Banfield, Miami Beach, Levitz, Levitz.
And if you're there, Sarah, feel free to drop your info.
Susan says, "Love the dogs you're holding." Well, they're both mine, so thank you very much.
This is Linda.
That's Minda. I rescued her 2 years ago. She was a nightmare when I rescued her.
Truly.
But I knew that there was a good dog in there.
And look at her
she's
now.
perfect.
Look at her now.
And this is my 10-year-old Blanche, who is the most perfect, angelic little angel you've ever met in your entire
With a bad haircut.
With a bad, well, not a bad haircut for her.
Yeah.
A well done haircut that the father recommended and regrets.
Well, now she isn't going to get that goat's milk
I know.
mustache.
That's why I did it, because her face always smells like mac and cheese, no matter how much I clean it because of the goat.
It's so good for her, but
It's so
gross.
good for her. Bob says, "Can you guys introduce yourselves again?" Yes, I am Hernando Umana, co-owner, Cbd Dog Health.
My name is Carter Easler. I'm the Director of Education at Cbd Dog Health.
My name is Dr. Zach Belsoff. I am the Chief Veterinary Officer at Cbd Dog Health.
Woohoo!
And just look at that. Okay,
Is that her?
That is
Awesome.
I just want to say hello. This woman is one of the most intelligent naturopaths for pets I've ever met my entire life. I literally cannot even tell you.
From Poland.
Yeah, and she's in Poland. She's like fighting for what's right over there. I've been just blown away by the intelligence. So if anyone's in Poland and wants someone that is going to help find the path that we believe in, let me tell you, that's where to go. So
Awesome. I love it. Susan, I have 8 rescue dogs as well. Susan's the best. All right, cool. 51 minutes we've been here?
It's been a while. Yeah.
Wow. All right, guys.
There we go.
Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Have a great weekend.
We'll be back next week talking about IBD. Sorry we missed you guys last week. Craziness happened and we had to reschedule. So we'll do that dosing and administering.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. Another time. But next week, IBD. 420 is coming up on Tuesday. 420 is an annual cannabis holiday, and we are having a very cute sale. But I can't tell you what it is yet. It might involve some new products that are being launched. So wait for, if you're not on our email list, Sam, please post where they can sign up for email, because you guys will be the first to hear about it. But by Monday, you should be seeing it on social media, and then it'll be 24 hours on Tuesday, 420.
420 sale.
420
New
sale.
products.
New products.
Free
Very
stuff,
exciting.
Maybe.
Blanche is hilarious.
She's like, I own 51% of this company.
So to the highest bidder.
Blanche, are you so beautiful? It hurts my heart.
Boss lady.
Boss
Yes.
lady.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, big yawn, big yawn.
Girl power, right? Yeah, you know it.
All right, guys. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend.
Happy RuPaul's Drag Race Day. People are watching Drag Race.
Yeah, watch
and we put the email sign up. So sign up so you guys could be the first to hear about this crazy special we're doing.
Cool. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Cover your mouth when you yawn.
Bye-bye. Oh, do we have to turn it off here?